Hi, I'm David Norris, and I'm serving up the perfect podcast, Pompey Platter with Russ, Daz and Haz. Play up, Pompey!
Murphy scores! A magnificent goal! That's just wonderful from Josh Murphy! Shaughnessy, great saving! Shaughnessy at the near post! Chance for Colby Bishop over the goalkeeper, off the post and into the back of the net! Colby Bishop! Lang's got his fourth! A fourth for Callum Lang!
Hello everyone and welcome to Season 3, Episode 2. Abu Kamara comes home.
Woohoo!
Yes, woo-hoo indeed. I'd like to welcome Haz. How are we, Haz?
I am buzzing, mate. Abu is home. Every time I see that guy, he's just constantly smiling throughout the whole, every picture, interview, player interview I watched yesterday, or I watched it this morning. He's just smiling, and his smile is infectious. His smile makes me smile. He hasn't got to say anything. I just look at him and I smile. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's lovely stuff. Speaking of lovely stuff, I'm also joined by a guy that's so bald that the eclipse last night thought he was looking in a mirror. It's Daz.
Is that what you had in your notes?
I remembered your one. I couldn't remember Haz's one.
Oh, that's
Anyway,
amazing.
It's still balding. But,
Is it eclipse related then?
No,
That's my one.
No, it was a Sam Smith relation.
Oh, well, save it for next week then.
Oh, well,
I'll tell you what.
yours I could do every time, but I had to remember the eclipse one.
That's class though.
no matter what you guys will say, will ever get me down when after the news of Abu Kamara is coming home and I know he's a good human anyway, but the fact that he had his dog involved in his signing on pictures just re-emphasised how much of a fucking legend and geezer he is, and couldn't be happier. I don't think a signing in a while has brought everyone together, even with the likes of signing of like kind of Chaplin and Matt Ritchie and like Marlon Pack, even though they're like proper Pompey boys and that lot returning. I think this Abu Kamara one just hits that little bit different.
It feels bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Weirdly.
Even though they're the local boys that were coming home, this feels bigger than any of those coming back.
Maybe it's because it's the Ben Thompson like part 2, which has actually happened. Maybe everyone's just happy it's happened.
That is true.
Right. We will get on to more of Kamara. We'll have a quick look at the West Ham game. Talk about Kamara. Then we got a special guest with Josh. I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name because it's all in my notes and I can't get to it.
Clements,
thank you. He's going to come on and talk about like the GBC or whatever. Again, it's all in my notes. I don't know what it's all called. So we'll have him on in about 20 minutes or so. Then we're going to do previewing the QPR game and our predictions, and we also will do our league predictions, our championship predictions for the season. Right, Haz, you were at the West Ham game.
I was indeed.
So let's get inside the ground, or maybe even outside the ground view of the West Ham game. How was it like travelling and around the grounds and the atmosphere? Tell us all about it.
Travelling was fine. Drove up to Richmond, got the tube over to Stratford. Westfield is unbelievable. I've never been there before, but I sent a text to my other half saying, they've got like a 3-story Zara, 2-story Bershka, Pull and Bear. She was like, yeah, you're taking me for a date. I was like, great, that's going to be expensive. That was probably the best part, apart from Segatic scoring. I had a cheeky little Nando's for lunch, which was fantastic.
How cheeky was it?
Well, cheeky enough.
Oh,
cheeky
lovely.
enough for 11:45 on a Saturday.
Oh.
The ground itself, I went there when the Olympics was on. It very much is an sporting event stadium as such, rather like for events like athletics, the Olympics and stuff like that, rather than a football stadium. When I put it on our socials, calling it a soulless bowl, it was completely soulless.
The thing that always baffles me, though, with it is the West Ham fans moan about their own stadium, but then as soon as someone else says anything, they're proper defensive.
This is the exact same point I was about to say.
I didn't quite get that. Like, they really resented the move from the Boleyn to the Olympic Stadium, which I 100% get. You're moving from your home for 100 odd years.
Oh, I loved Upton Park
to a stadium that's not yours. One, you don't own it. Two, it's not actually a football stadium. Three, it's not in West Ham anymore. It's in Stratford. Like, there's multiple reasons for why they don't like it. So why, when we say about how bad it is, they're like, oh. But yeah, it's not really a football stadium. I don't like it. I wouldn't want to go back there to watch football again. I will praise West Ham for the £10 tickets for adults, £1 for children. I've seen lots of families home and away. Obviously, 9,000 Pompey fans sell out. They sold their 50,000 home allocation as well. It was more of a pre-season friendly, to be honest. We were definitely in front for the first 40 minutes or so, I'd say. 35 minutes.
I thought it had a good tempo, though. Like, it didn't, like...
It did to start off with.
It was a pre-season game.
As soon as I'll come back to the first half, but as soon as they scored that third goal in the beginning of the second half, that's when the tempo dropped off, because it was like, yeah, the game's done now.
Yeah, understandably.
Obviously, I don't feel like they needed to... I feel like West Ham treated it very much as a pre-season game. Like, they didn't play to the top ability that they could have done. Because if they played how they did against us in the first half an hour, they won't be winning the league. But I do believe they will step it up. And they did, with our help, admittedly, step it up. I felt like we were on top, but without necessarily doing a lot to challenge Hermansen. Again, like most of pre-season, Rocco Shane has proven to be the kind of the star player and the shining light. Luke Brooks-Smith looked quite good as well. Was happy to take his man down the line. Wasn't always looking to cut in. It was quite interesting to watch, obviously, Swanson playing technically on the wrong side at left back. I thought Swanson, Brooks-Smith and Rocco Shane had a good kind of link up already. Obviously, they played a few games of pre-season there, but it seemed a good kind of triangle out on that left side. And I thought that was quite impressive. They were probably the highlights of the game. Owen Kenny looked quite good when he came on, but again, he looked quite raw. Just kind of some really real flash in the pan moments rather than kind of calm and composure. Feel like that will come with it. That will come with a bit of time. Nico didn't have to do a lot in goal. Couldn't have done anything about the 3 goals. Shocks, Paul and Devlin were terrible.
Shocks weren't as bad as you think.
No, he was.
Watch it back. He was let down massively by everyone else.
I think as a collective, bar Swanson, all 3 of them had probably one of the worst games I've seen the 3 of them have in a Pompey shirt.
There was one player worse than all 3 of them, and that was Luke LaRue.
We'll come on to him. Don't you worry about that. Their first goal, Terry Devlin just kind of gently strolls over to Kante rather than he doesn't sprint out with any kind of intent. He kind of just looks like he can't be asked. Let Kante go past him. Then Regan Poole gets blitzed and then again doesn't put in enough effort to try and get back. Ball is across into the box and Shocks has been pulled across. There's no one, which probably Luke LaRue should have been kind of filling in.
That was Luke LaRue's man.
And Tati Castellanos had the entirety of the 6-yard box to do what he liked. He could have stood on the ball, did a pirouette and God knows what, and made a cup of tea before he had to shoot. He had so much time. Second goal, I think Rocco Shane was unlucky. He tried to kind of shepherd the ball, but it didn't quite work. Luke Leroux was doing what Luke Leroux does.
Rocco. The reason why he done that was because Leroux was again out of position and should have been on him.
Yeah, and obviously Bowen hits it, and obviously Shocks puts his head in the way, and it completely wrong foots Nico, and it goes in. And after a really promising, probably 35 minutes, and you could start to tell West Ham fans were starting to get frustrated, and were trying to, you could start to actually hear some noise from them because there was no noise up until that moment. They were starting to get pissed off. So to go in 2-1 down was a bit frustrating. Then the third one, right at the start of the second half,
that was the Paul around one. They all were at fault, even Swanson.
Yeah, obviously the ball comes in. I can't remember who got the assist. Was it Walker Peters?
Yes.
Gets the ball, does Swanson, and Shocks has gone about 2-3 yards in front of Castellanos for some reason. I don't know where he's off to. Regan Paul can see Tati Castellanos, but still just thinks, fuck it, I'm not going to bother. And again, could stand there, make a cup of tea, read a newspaper, and has a free header and has about 6 yards circumference before a Pompey player's there. So, and that was about it, really. It kind of died off a bit, but we looked quite good on the counter-attack as well in the second half. We just lacked a bit of pace. It was kind of set.
We looked like a team to me.
It was just
missing a few good players.
Yeah, I think it was just like Segatic was trying to push on, and then that was it. It was just him. But I think that's where, if you get Abu in the team, you get Josh Kamara. Josh Kamara. New signing, Pompey Patter exclusive. Josh Kamara is signing. Josh Murphy as well, when he's back fit, you've got that explosive pace that really you can unleash on those counter-attacking moments because they were vulnerable to it. We just didn't have the intensity. But overall, it wasn't a bad day out. I think we take it. And, Segatic scored again. So, well, yeah, it was a good day.
Well, Dad, speaking of Segs, he's showing again sometimes it's worth just hitting. Saw against Middlesbrough, hits Chaplin. See it on Saturday, just hit, I can't remember who, one of their players, and in the back of the net it goes.
Yeah, it's especially when the ball comes out from a corner and then you can hit it, obviously it's going into a lot of bodies there, so there's a chance it could get blocked, but there's also a chance it could bounce around, it could go sort of drop where it did, obviously into the back of the net, or it could drop to one of the Pompey players in the box. But obviously then again, it could drop to one of the West Ham players. But if you don't buy the ticket, obviously you don't win the raffle. And I say, as long as, now, if he had a skied over, then that would have annoyed me. But if you can keep it down, it's just going to cause chaos. And I was always told, and obviously when I coached as well, is when you have a corner, especially as an attacking side, is just to keep the ball alive. So keep putting the ball into the box, because it's the onus isn't on you to win every ball. You don't have to win the ball every single time that comes to the box. You just need that one chance. So yeah, fair play to him. Whether or not if it hadn't have taken a deflection, would the keeper have saved it? Probably, I think, because I don't think it was hit with as much pace or in an area where the keeper wouldn't have got to it. But I mean, we'll take that every single day. We don't need to worry about if something's deflection. We just take that goal or not. It is what it is. But I mean, not just obviously from that. I thought again he was one of our better players, along with Rico Shine.
Who the fuck's Rico?
He's whatever I want to call him. All right.
So we've had Josh Kamara and Rico Shine.
Yeah. So Richard Shine, he was all right. I also like Ricardo Sheehan. He was good. But no, like
that's the Brazilian / Irish player, isn't it?
Paddy Kenny looked all right, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But what but yeah, Paddy Kenny, yeah, I enjoyed him. I thought he was really good. I thought he was really positive running at the back line. That chance where he cut inside, which he did sort of spoon a little bit, but I mean,
I like it though. I like players that have that sort of balls to do things like that.
Just go
do that 10 times, one of them will go in.
Yeah, just go at players. And who's the other centre mid we signed who played left back?
Bailey.
And to be honest, like it was unfortunate for him to be put at left back because obviously that's not where he plays. But I mean, he came on, he did a job, and to be fair, like he had a decent effort, I think. And I like that lad. I would like to see him like put into his normal position, but I mean, needs must at the moment. And there's certain positions where we need cover, which hopefully we'll be filling in before the end of this window. But yeah, I mean, as we said, it felt like a bit of a pre-season game, especially after the third goal went in. I don't know whether did that pitch look very, very big?
I don't know. It looked square.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
It's a wide, but I felt it was wide, but not long.
Yeah.
So someone else, I'm sure I saw someone on Twitter said it was literally like 1 or 2 yards wider than ours, but the length was the same.
Yeah, but that could be. I mean, you may look at that and say, oh well, it's only 1 or 2 yards, but that can be a massive difference in like running and stuff like that. So yeah, it looked from the TV, it looked like the pitch was especially very wide. And I think that may come into consideration along with the weather and how hot it was. I'm guessing down on the pitch, it would have been like pretty warm. So yeah, maybe players would have been holding back a little bit, but I think we said last week, didn't we, that these cup games, are quite good because it gives you that last competitive, friendly kind of thing. Because let's face it, no one's really bothered about this cup until you get to the latter stages and you've actually got a chance to get to Wembley and potentially win it. So,
also financially, it's not really worth it. It's not like the FA Cup, is it?
No.
So
I mean, we would have looked to try to get through this. The result was not the end of the world as long as we sort of made a good showing on ourselves, which we did up until they scored their first goal. And I mean, even after they scored their first
goal, I think even after that, we were all right.
But I mean, after their third goal, where it was kind of game over, we still pressed, we still had some opportunities. Obviously, ideally, like the situation with Waddingham wasn't ideal at all, because you want to come through these games unscathed. But I suppose it's, as I think I tweeted this saying, there's more positives than negatives, which is weird after a loss, but,
all right, Kenny Jack.
Yeah, it was a good way to lose. It was a good way to lose.
If you're going to lose, it's a good way to lose.
Especially when we had Ricardo Sheehan playing. So, that was a positive. But yeah, I mean, let's get on to the proper stuff this weekend, isn't it?
Proper stuff. Has already mentioned, and we kind of briefly touched on it, but on Monday, the expected transfer of Abu Kamara, not Josh Kamara, was announced.
You know what? You've got Abu Kamara, Josh Murphy, Josh Karoma.
Ooh,
that's where we're heading.
I hope he don't perform like Josh Karoma.
I wonder where he is now.
Don't know. He was doing all right at Huddersfield at one point, wasn't he?
Did I not?
Was that last season?
Did you not see him? He was playing in the National League.
He's at Chesterfield.
Oh yeah, League Two. That's not too bad.
That's where he belongs. That's a big statement again by the Islanders, wouldn't you say, Has?
Yeah, like ultimately, a lot of fans, including us, were saying back end of last year, obviously when it was confirmed that we'd be staying up, that we don't want to be waiting until the second to the last game of the season to be staying up for a third season in a row, and that then would require higher levels of investment from the ownership and the board and the club to push us further up and have higher quality players, because there's not necessarily anything wrong with the players that we had, but if you're content with being in a scrap and just about surviving every year. But if they are serious, and this is what it's kind of I think to me is showing that they are, if you are serious about trying to pull away from that Championship bottom three in that relegation zone, then their investment needs to be higher. So obviously we've had 3.5 million on Maresi. We've had 2.5 million on Kamara. We've had 550k on Bielica. We've had 2.1 million on Rocco Shane. We've had 40k on Owen Kenny. I think it was around 300 odd K or so for Brooks Smith. Have I missed anyone else we've paid a fee for?
No, so it's just Bailey in the loans, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's just over. I think it was just over 9 million, 8 million in total.
It's 9, isn't it? I think
so far
it's like 9.1 or something.
Yeah,
like
I tweeted it on our page. I can't quite remember the figures. Obviously, you can kind of go tit for tat with Callum Lang money for Rocco Shane, so that kind of cancels that out because we were told that would be available in the summer. But nonetheless, it's still 7 million spent at the minute. Then, with probably more to come. Obviously, we've signed Odin Bailey on a free. We've got Benji Arthur on loan from Brentford. We're going to have Ryan Kavama McQueen on loan from Chelsea. And am I being stupid? Or is there a third loan?
No, that's the only two at the moment. Obviously, we'll get on to it in a bit later about like what happened with. Actually, we'll probably get on to it in a minute with Josh about what happened with Cessay.
Yes, we'll get. That's a good little segue. We'll come on to that in a sec. So yeah, ultimately we've asked for more money to be spent. We've spent over double what we did last summer already, and with Michael Eisner and I would assume Eric at least will be coming over this weekend. Messino is going to have a meeting with them and is probably going to say, let's have a little bit more of that, son. So I would imagine we'll probably reach the £10 million mark, if not just short, which ultimately is what we've been asking for, and it's a good progress to pushing on and pulling away from that bottom three.
Certainly is. Right. It's about 8:30. Are we ready, Haz, for our guest?
He's here, isn't he? Yep.
Here.
We'll add him on. There you go. He should be coming on. Evening, Josh.
Hi, gents. How are we doing? You all right?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No problem, mate. No worries.
No worries. Thank you for being someone that can understand all of the visa malarkey, because it's absolute carnage.
Because I read it, thought I understood it, and then don't. It's as simple as that.
It's not easy, is it? Every fan base needs a nerd, don't they, to go through something like this? So I'll take that mantle.
So so we need to what are they called again?
So yeah, there's a couple of things. So there's the GBE visa and then the ESC visa. I'll try and talk through those quickly, but try and simplify them a little bit. And then there's sort of the way in which you can transition between the two. And then there's also sort of what that means for our squad and the transfers that we've made. And obviously with the Cessay deal falling through. But yeah, it's a complex thing. Do you want me to just crack on with some of it?
Yeah, I just want to know, there is a test for Daz at the end, isn't there?
There's not, but I could make one.
Shit.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, mate.
Let's go. So the first one, really, the GBE visa, it stands for Governing Body Endorsement, and it effectively just means that the FA, as the governing body of football, endorse the visa application to the Home Office for a player. It's the difference between the GBE and the ESC. I'd kind of described it, I think, in my article last year as the GBE is sort of the top tier one. It's the one that the FA want you to do. I think I described it as a Champions League of work permits, which is something at least. But it's kind of the aspiration when you bring in a player from overseas. The FA want you to use those. And they've set out basically a 27-page document of how someone can earn the points that they request that you earn in order to get that visa, which again doesn't make it very easy. The way in which you get the points, I think they've allocated 6 different paths, so you can accumulate points from 6 different ways. Again, it's a bit of a minefield, but the easiest way to go through it, really, I'll touch on not all 6 of them. I won't bore everybody to death, but the first one is sort of the current club that they play for, and they've put out a banding level, so band 1 to band 6, band 1 being the highest. And they've kind of determined the sort of league quality of where that player is coming from in the different banding systems. Band 1 is effectively your top 5 European leagues: Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1 in France. And then as you come down, band 2 is the Dutch top flight, Portuguese, Belgian top division, and the Championship as well for obviously non-British citizens. As you go on, band 3, I think, includes like the MLS. And 4 is kind of leagues such as Denmark. 5, I'll pick out a couple from band 5 just because we've used them recently. So Norway is a band 5 league. We obviously got Rocco Shine from there. Hungarian league is as well for Mark Kosnowski. The Swedish division as well for where we signed LaRue. And band 6 is effectively all the leagues that they haven't classified. And the way in which the FA look at that is based on that classification and the bandings, they attribute points to those bandings. So if you're coming from a top 5 league in band 1, you sort of get 12 of the 15 points you need. Band 2, Portugal, Netherlands, etc., you get 10 points. As you go down, band 3 is 8, band 4 is 6 points, band 5, 4 points. And then to add another layer of complexity, they sort of attribute that to how many minutes you played in those leagues last year as well. And they do that by a bit of complex table. And again, it's kind of going through the bandings and then the amount of minutes someone's played. So if you've played over 90% of minutes in band 1, you get another 12 points, band 2, another 10, and it goes down in order. Likewise, 70% of minutes in band 1, I think, is 10 points. Band 2 would be 8 points. Band 3 would be 6, etc. So depending on the league quality you come from, you earn points from coming from that league, and then you earn points for how many minutes you've played. But again, that varies depending on the league quality, which is kind of a bit of a segue to Cessay. This year, they changed the rules, which came into effect on the 15th of June. Turkey was downgraded from band 2 last year. It's now band 3, which means that coming from that league last year, it would have earned him 10 points of the 15 needed. It now earns 8. And then by my calculations, he played 75% of the minutes, 75.7% of the minutes for his club last year, which would have earned him another 6. So it would have been way over the threshold for the 15. It now doesn't. It only earns him, how many minutes was it? 75% of minutes. So he only earned another 6 points. So overall total in the 14 of the 15 required. So that's the big change for Cessay, the downgrading of that league, and kind of reflects, I guess, how they're attributing the points that the FA decide for each of the leagues. So it's a bit of a frustration with that one. I'll come back to Cessay again in a minute because there's another bit of a complexity with it, I think. But yeah, key things around the GBE visa. That's sort of the predominant way in which you earn it. You can also, another one of those 6 ways you earn the points is international appearances. But someone like Rocco Shine, for example, plays for Estonia, and the way in which they attribute the points for international appearances is based on FIFA rankings. So I think Estonia are 127th ranked in the FIFA rankings at the moment, which, because it's outside the top 50, he would only get 2 points for that. If you were playing for a top 10 nation, top 20 nation in the world, then you'd be getting pretty much an auto pass, which is another sort of criteria that they set out. So again, they've attributed the league quality and where you're coming from to a certain amount of points, and then they've also done that for the international appearances.
Can I just ask a quick question on
Yeah,
on
go
both
for it. Yeah, jump in if there's anything.
Why does the league or what nation you play for in the rankings matter? Why does that come into it? Is there a reason why the FIFA do that?
Yeah, it's from the FA, and the purpose of all of this really in the GB and the ESC, which we'll come on to in a minute, is kind of designed to deter most clubs from being able to do it. It's heavily weighted in favour of the Premier League because, let's be honest, as good as Rocco Shine has been in pre-season for us, a Premier League club isn't going to pick him up and stick him in the Premier League straight away. They're probably going to pick up a German national or a Dutch one or someone like that. So it's kind of heavily weighted that way. And I think with the idea around the EFL clubs adopting these regulations just as the Premier League do, it's kind of designed in a way that the FA want you to pursue sort of domestic talent, promote domestic talent. I guess it kind of tries to advance the British game. If you look, I think it's in the Premier League last year, less than 25% of the cumulative minutes were from homegrown players. So I think they're trying not to go down that same pathway. They've kind of put a bit more stringent conditions on that for the EFL clubs. But again, the Premier League have to adopt these same policies. It's just they have a lot more money to go out and buy someone.
I think that makes perfect sense. Now you've explained that, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's, I guess, a bit of a deterrent, but it's also a way in which, I think they see it as if we're going to be bringing talent from overseas to come and play in this country. They want it to be, of good pedigree, good background, and sort of the best possible players coming over here. They've just done that in a really complex way.
So that's the GBE. What's the difference between that and then the ESC?
So the main difference is the GBE because it's sort of the criteria you hit to reach that permit, and you're endorsed by the FA on that. There's no slots for that, so effectively we could have, as long as we meet the homegrown player quota in a different FA document for our squad building exercise, then we can have as many GBE players as you want. The ESC is kind of a fallback to the GBE, so if you don't hit the 15 points criteria, then you could get an ESC. I say could because the rules have changed slightly this year, depending on how old you are. But it's kind of a bit of a fallback permit to say, and it stands for Elite Significant Contribution. So it's to say we will endorse it, but we'll endorse it on the basis that this player can come in and make a good contribution to the game in this country. With ESC, you only have the 4 slots. I think even John Musinho, and obviously I've covered it in quite a lot of my posts that people might have seen, is around the slots and how we build our squad, and we can only have 4. That relates to the ESC. Like I say, GB, you can kind of have as many as you want, providing you've got a good amount of homegrown players in your squad. So that's the main difference. It's kind of the only way you bring in an ESC player is if they don't hit the 15 points for the GBE. So if you look at someone like Rocco Shane, he's come from a Band 5 league in Norway. So he's kind of only got 4 points for that. And then even if he played 90% of the minutes, he'd only get another 4 points in that regard. And then because Estonia is so lowly ranked, another 2. So he wouldn't get that GBE. And it's kind of a fallback to be able to bring someone in. We actually, I don't think, until this summer, have made a sign that it's not an ESC from overseas, which we've now moved on to, which is good. But yeah, it's effectively the fallback. We had recruited someone like Luke Leroux on that basis last summer, and I've tried to do Cessay a slightly different way. But this year, the big change with the ESC permit is that it's only for under 23s, which means it kind of rules out, and I think John Musinho has mentioned, it kind of rules out a lot of players that they've been interested in that they would have otherwise been able to sign last year. That's, again, the FA trying to move towards sort of promoting domestic talent. With the ESC, obviously the 4 slots you've got, it's effectively there for someone who doesn't hit the 15 points for the GBE. The important thing to note, though, is you can, if you come in and you are successful with the ESC slot, and we have a player on the ESC, you can transition them. So it has to be after 1 registration period. So once our squad is submitted for the 25-man squad after this transfer window, someone like Rocco Shine, who's on an ESC slot, I would expect him to play more than 50% of our minutes until January, as provided he doesn't get injured or sort of fall out of form. He can then transition. when it comes to the January window, when that reopens, we can transition someone out of that. So that's obviously a good way of being able to free those slots back up. The club has done that quite successfully in the past as well. So Adrian Segacic, Aidan Matthews, Jacob Farrell, and Nico Schmidt all signed on ESC permits. They're all now on GBE because they transitioned out of that. So it's kind of a good example in the squad, really, of how we can sign someone on that ESC permit and prove that they've made a good contribution to the club. You probably couldn't argue that Jacob Farrell has made a good contribution to the club, but the club have used the rules quite in their favour in order to do that. So it just gives us an opportunity to sign more players. But again, someone like Luke LaRue that signed on that basis wouldn't have been able to be signed if we didn't sign him last summer. We tried to this summer. And again, the fallback option of the ESC that was available previously to any age group, for someone like Jesper Cessay that doesn't hit that 15 points, on the new rules that came into effect on the 15th of June, he can't do that because he's over 23. So the fallback is kind of, again, limiting that pool of talent for clubs like us and around that bottom to mid-table championship spectrum. So it's a bit of a shame.
I mean, so it kind of, I understand it from the FA's point of view. They're wanting to, as you say, kind of either you get young European talents or foreign talents that you can progress. And so they kind of go, well, it's not quite a British youngster, but it's still a youngster that you can develop and progress. But ultimately, they don't want you to be buying 28, 29-year-olds, which, as you said, Messina said he doesn't. That's what they were kind of looking at. What happens with Kosnovsky? Did he come in on an ESC?
He did, yeah. So I calculate that at the moment our 4 ESC slots are taken by LaRue, Kosnovsky, Dia, and the new signing Rocco Shine. Again, they can transition out. Just going through those, Luke LaRue's going to have no chance. So now that Luke LaRue and Mark Kosnovsky are a bit different in the calculation because they've now played for us for 12 months. So when we're looking at these points and everything like that, the club reference period is the last 12 months. So Luke LaRue will now get 10 points for Band 2 because that's what the championship's in order to make up the other 5 points in Band 2 based on domestic minutes. He would have to have played 40% of the games for us last year. He got nowhere near that. I think he only played about 600 minutes. Many would say that's a good thing. But yeah, he's got no chance of transitioning. So the only way that he will get that slot back is if he's sold.
Please.
Yeah, I thought you might say that. Mark Kosnovsky is a really interesting one because the way in which the domestic minutes calculation is made up is it's not the amount of the percentage of minutes they've played out of the total club minutes. It's the percentage of minutes available for selection. And in the glossary of terms, it defines available for selection as minutes available to that player that don't include unavailable for selection. And in that definition, it basically says that from the calculation, they'll discount if the player's injured or if they're suspended. So those don't count towards the minutes.
So that explains Farrell, because I was thinking, how has Farrell moved on? He's only played twice.
Yeah, I mean, there's an interesting one with Farrell. I think I wrote in my article last year that I think the club could, I don't know how old he was at the time, so there's 2 ways he could do it. Youth play is slightly different as well. But if I can't remember how old Farrell was when he joined us, but there is effectively a way in which they could have calculated that and said the only minutes available to him were the 90 that he played because he was injured for the rest of the time. And that would have been a fair argument to the FA to transition him. So there is kind of some loopholes in that as well. Mark Kosnovsky, I think once we get to about the 24th of August, might be able to transition because the first 3 games of last season were played before, I think the West Brom game was the 3rd game of last season, wasn't it? Or the 23rd. And he only played a combined 5 minutes in those 3. So once we get to the 24th of August, those 3 games fall outside of the reference period. And therefore, because they're older than 12 months, won't be calculated. And then if the club can prove that he is actually injured, which we all know he is, and he missed I believe the 2 other games he missed entirely were Wrexham and Southampton. And if the club can prove he's injured in those times, I think he then hits 40% of the minutes played available to him. So he could transition at the back end of August, which is a bit of a complex one. But yeah, typically you'd transition if you played a good amount of minutes. Luke Roux definitely hasn't. Cosnotti, I think, can because he's injured, but again, it won't be until back end of August.
So if you're saying back end of August, you're saying there's a chance for Cessay?
Well, the thing about Cessay is he couldn't come in anyway because he's now over 23. So, yeah, there would have been a chance on that basis if this was if the rules hadn't changed to the under 23s only. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I can't see Jesper Cessay happening at all anymore.
Sorry, I was going to say, so I think it came out, I don't know if you'd said it or someone said that the club had appealed the Cessay decision by the FA. When they appeal it, obviously you said the rules had already changed. What are they appealing? Are they trying to say that, well, he was already a target before that time, so we were already kind of in talks, so it should be counted from before the rule change?
Yeah, there's two ways, and I think Moose spoke to Jordan Cross, I think it was, around that matter around Cessay, and he mentioned that they had appealed to the FA on the basis. So there's two ways. I don't know if they've put in an official appeal as part of the rules. If someone doesn't quite meet the 15 points, you can take them to exceptions panel. You pay, I think it's £5,000 for the privilege of the FA to set up a 3-person panel and deliberate whether someone can be granted an exception. You can only do that, I think, if they hit 12, 13, 14 points, which Cessay does. He hits 14, so they may have taken it to an exceptions panel. I think that the FA would have got quite a lot of appeals via exceptions panel this year because of the rule changes. Like you say, the rules came into effect on the 15th of June. I think they were published on, I want to say like the 1st or 6th of June, around that sort of time. And prior to that, the clubs that, know their safety and are recruiting for this division, they would have had long-term plans, wouldn't they? So I think the club would probably have taken a view on Cessay being a player of interest to them probably in sort of April, May time, once they figured out, what division they're going to be in, working on that deal probably behind the scenes. And then with the rule change coming quite late, it's put a bit of a spanner in the works for a lot of clubs. So I think they might have taken it to exceptions panel and it's been denied. I don't know that for sure because John Mousinho just kind of said that they've appealed it. There's not really another way they can appeal unless they've just written to the FA to ask them to do it. But it wouldn't surprise me if they took it to exceptions panel and it's been declined.
So I think personally, obviously, it's frustrating that he clearly was. Obviously, I know he missed out on like Gibson Yar and Mate Tubeloy as well. I don't know if you know if he would have qualified or not. But I get why the club didn't kind of just give up because obviously, as you said, he's missed out by 1 point. And if there's a chance that the club could have gone to an exceptions panel or kind of worked their way around it, it's always worth a shot if you're really wanting and that desperate for that player. It's always worth having a shot at getting it because there's a chance that the FA could have said yes, but obviously they've got a strict hard line and gone, no, this is the rule change. You're not getting away with 1 point less.
Yeah, that's it. And like I say, this is the first time they've introduced the under 23 rule. So, I think they're probably just trying to hardline it so that a lot of clubs aren't doing it. And a lot of clubs don't try and take it to exceptions. But I can absolutely see why Portsmouth have pursued it. They would have known about this change since the start of June and they've still pursued the deal. But ultimately, in order to take it to the FA, you're going to have a deal agreed and a bit of a deal wrapped up. So that I think they're kind of, you can't just take a provisional one to the FA. You have to submit a formal application to them and then it goes on to the Home Office. So, there's a bit of frustration, I think, in the fan base of if he's never going to get a GB permit, what's the point in pursuing him? They kind of had to in order to find out from the FA whether there will be that chance. And also, I think I called it a few weeks ago, around the 14 points thing, and I was unsure, but I was kind of I guess to and froing with whether he'd get it or not. Because of the exceptions panel being there anyway, but also the sort of data that's available to the club. So I can take data from FootMob or SofaScore or Scout transfer market, etc., around how much sort of minutes he played, figure out which ones he wasn't available for, and then sort of do the calculation that way. But coming the Turkish league isn't that accurate for data in a lot of those platforms. So Portsmouth could effectively have some analysts sat there watching every single game in the Turkish league, what minute he came on and what minute he went off and how many minutes were played in those. And given that I calculated it being like 75.7% of minutes and he needed 80, there's probably a chance that if that data was incorrect and Portsmouth had more readily available data, then he might have hit the 80% mark, which is kind of why I didn't completely rule it out a few weeks ago. But yeah, I can see why they've done it. It's just a bit of a frustrating one all round, but hopefully we've got another 6 lined up. And like you say, Gibson Yar, that he went to Bristol City, he would have got a GBE because he's come from Netherlands, so that would have been no qualms whatsoever. Marti Tuvali from Hungary, I think, will be on an ESC because I believe he's under 23, or he is 23, but born after the 1st of January 2003, which is what the rules sort of go on. So I think he would be able to get an ESC slot. Again, if we can transition Koznovsky out at the end of August and bring him in, maybe that's an option that the club go back to. Or another player from overseas that needs an ESC that's under 23 if they come from a league that's not already getting them a GBE. But yeah, a couple of questions I've had a few times are on Koznovsky as well. Like I say, I think he can transition in a couple of weeks. If he can't transition in a couple of weeks because either the club don't calculate the same way I do or my calculation's wrong, then quite a lot of people ask me if, because he's not registered in the squad, will he still count? Or will he still hold an ESC slot? He absolutely will, because the way in which they do those ESC slots is based on employment and not based on the squad registration rules. So if we don't register Cos, which I think we all fully expect he won't be registered until at least January, he will still take that ESC slot. So just not registering him won't free us one up there. So I think really the way in which we'll get a slot back is selling with LaRue, which I'm sure will make Russ very happy.
It certainly would.
Does a loan help with LaRue if you were to loan out an ESC slot, or does it have to be a permanent move away?
It has to be a permanent move away, I'm afraid.
Okay.
An interesting study with that one was Florian Bianchini that came in last year was on an ESC slot for Swansea, didn't play enough minutes to qualify for the transition, and then I think took up an ESC slot at both us and Swansea last year, by my calculations. So yeah, it's a bit of an annoying rule. If you loan someone out, they still, because I think the Home Office see it as they're technically employed by the club still.
Yeah,
they still take the slot. So
yeah.
I hope the FA is strict on this with everyone. I don't want to find out in a couple of weeks that West Ham are billed and they let them have it or something.
You would imagine they would be, right? Because you'd be going into corruption and favouritism and stuff. I think you either take a hard line or you don't.
Well, we all know that, especially Premier League clubs get sort of the benefit of the doubt, don't they? And I think with these rules, if the FA's idea is that because these ESC rules and things like that only affect teams from the Championship, League 1, League 2, doesn't affect the Premier League teams, does it? Clearly. If they wanted to bring this rule in to sort of try and get more homegrown players in it, they should look at the Premier League sort of academies and them hoovering up all the best English talent. That would then, if they sorted that situation out, that would then free up Championship, League 1, League 2, being able to keep young English talent and then sort of progress in that way. But obviously they have to find another way to sort of keep the Premier League at arm's length to the rest of all of us, don't they?
Yeah, and there's an interesting dynamic with that one. So the ESC slots where you've only got 4. In fact, League 1 and League 2 clubs only have 2 slots. Championship and Premier League have 4. They've changed the rules so that you can only have under 23 players now on an ESC. And interestingly, I don't think a Premier League club has ever signed an over 23 player on an ESC. So evidently the rules are kind of favoured in there towards the Premier League. I think you're right. I think the way in which they sort this kind of thing out for the long term is actually sort of a distribution of assets in terms of academy assets, because they're hoovered up like crazy. And someone like Chelsea have probably got 400 players on the books in the academy level, we've barely got one.
Well, that's how Chelsea and Man City are able to then keep buying these top end like players for like 80 million, 90 million, 100 million plus, because every summer they get rid of 4 or 5 academy players at 20 million a piece. I mean, look at like obviously Scummers down the road, like they had like 2 or 3 recently, didn't they? Man City players, and they paid at least like 10 to 15 million for each one of them. So that's how Man City and Chelsea do their business: get rid of all the young lads with also buyback clauses. So they get rid of them for like 10, 15, 20 million a piece. Then they can go out and buy a player for 100 million. And then 2 years down the line, they can, if they want to, they can go and get those players back for next to nothing as well. So it's getting like the deals that the Premier League and which the EFL took back in the day. I'm glad we've got someone like Rick Perry now who's involved with the EFL, who's not one to sort of just take an easy deal. I think the EFL in the past has absolutely killed EFL clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And interestingly, around the EFC rules changing to just the under-23s now, the FA were proposing to reduce the amount of slots at the same time. I think they were going to try and cut the championship down. It was actually the EFL that held firm. I think all the clubs were saying, we still need 4 in the championship. And the compromise was actually just to go to the under-23 rules for the EFC. And that, I think that the EFL heavily sort of went against the FA on that. So, you're right. I think, he could be good for the EFL.
So with Daniel Bialika, so he qualifies for a GBE. So that's because he gets points for, was it tier band 2 for the Netherlands?
Yeah, band 2. So 10 points for that. And then
he played 33 matches in the Eredivisie.
Yeah,
so
I think he played sort of 90% of the games, which is another 10 points. So he effectively got 20 points out of the 15 required.
And then does he get anything extra? So do you then add the fact he's Polish from a higher band nation than, say, Estonia? Does that count towards it as well? Or
no, so nationality doesn't really count towards it unless you play for that national side.
Okay. So it's only if you're making full international appearances?
Yeah. And it's done in a slightly different reference period. So it's done over a 2-year period, and it's percentage of minutes played available to you over that 2 years. So, another complex dynamic to it. But yeah, only for sort of national appearance makers. Again, someone like Luke Garou, when we signed him, had made sort of 4 appearances for South Africa, I think, hadn't he? Wouldn't qualify for any sort of points within the national side, because A, they're not ranked high enough, and B, he hadn't played enough for them. The sort of nationality doesn't really come into it. It's more sort of international appearances at that level.
Okay.
So I'm assuming is that because of international, like Segasic, for example, he's gone from Australian to Croatian. That if they did count where you come from, that would cause a massive headache, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Probably what it is. I don't know the exact reason as to why they don't count sort of which nationality you are in the rule book, but I would imagine you'd get a lot of players switching to their allegiances to top ranked nations, getting a move in here and then switching back to play for Australia later down the line or something.
Yeah, it would definitely. I think it would cause a problem of players, like you said, picking higher nations to just so they can get moves.
Yeah, just a quick one. The other signing we've made, obviously from overseas, 2 actually. Luke Brooks-Smith, but he's got a British citizenship, I believe, so doesn't need any of this nonsense. Marko Milovanovic is also on a GBE, so the rules sort of dictate by the current club, which current club kind of means the last club we paid for when we're outside of the regular season at the moment. So his basis was on Alverca, Portuguese League, band 2. Again, he'd only need to play to make up the rest of the 5 points for the 15. He only had to play 40% of the minutes. He did play more than 40% of the minutes for them, so he should be on the GBE visa as well.
So when will Jojo be able to come off of that and go into a GBE?
Yeah, so this is I've been researching Jojo a little bit. I don't want to add another complexity to it, but I think there is a way in which the club might have been able to transition him on the 15th of June, but only on the 15th of June. And the reason for that is last season he was counted effectively as a youth player because he was in the same as the squad registration rules, the under-21 category. He's not now. The youth players on the sort of percentage of minutes have a slightly different category. So they also have in the minutes criteria for like league minutes, you got, like I said, 90% equals a certain amount of points, 80% a certain amount of points. And for youth players, the debut for a youth player attributes points. And for Band 2, which the championship is, for Jojo's sort of debut that he made for us, would be 5 points. Now, coming from Band 2, 10 points, 5 points for the debut for a youth player, then he would have hit that 15-point criteria. The problem with that is he's no longer a youth player, so we can't submit an application to them this off-season because we'll have to submit it on the basis that he's a youth player and he's no longer a youth player. But there is a provision in this year's rules for the first day of the registration period opening for the 26th transfer window and the 15th of June for these rules, that a club can evidence a youth player satisfy the debut for the youth player points criteria under last year's criteria. So a really complex way of saying that on the 15th of June only, if we can satisfy that he played enough or the points for the debut as a youth player based on last year's rules, they would accept that. I don't know if that's happened or not. Obviously, the club would have to confirm whether they've made that application on the 15th of June or they haven't. But yeah, weirdly, outside of the 15th of June, not really a way in which he can transition unless he plays sort of 50% of the minutes for us now. Again, 50% of minutes available to him.
So he'd have to wait until January. So you'd have to make sure he played 50% of the minutes he's available up until January to then go into a GBE.
Yeah, well, 50% up until this point, or 40% up until January, including when he joined last January, which is a really complex way. But he would have to play 40% of the minutes for us from January to January.
Right.
Given that he hasn't played the 50% already. But yeah, there's a weird condition in the rules this year about that youth player thing, and I think he might satisfy that. But again, whether the club, I imagine the club know that because it's in the rules, whether they've submitted that application for him or not. And again, it's only a slight chance that it'd be accepted, but he could have transitioned already.
The club seem to be quite good at loopholes, obviously, don't they? Obviously, they had tried the loophole with Cessay. They were successful with the loophole with deregistering Iban Bawat when Colby came back. That was a loophole that they found. So the club secretary is quite good at that. If not, I do believe they should probably get you to work for the club and literally just sit there. And when Rich Hughes goes and finds a target and goes, I want to sign that guy, they phone you and you go, no, you don't qualify, Rich. Tough shit. Because it's really, really interesting to listen to someone who is just one of us, is in a Pompey fan, that has managed to understand and read all of the jargon nonsense that the FA put into the rules, and then managed to convert it into layman's terms for us people that sit there and go, what?
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. Like, Josh, was this just more like a hobby side thing, or was it anything that sort of, like, not saying that you work in football and know all this sort of stuff, but is there any link between like sort of all this stuff and maybe stuff you do for work, which you've sort of just, because it's a bit of a talent to be able to go through and see all that, understand it, and then like go for there. It's not something you can just like have a quick scan at and then just that's it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a link. I did law at uni, and then I worked in the legal sector for a bit. So kind of going through regulations and laws is kind of what I used to do. And then my master's degree was in international sports management. So sort of commercial operations of a football club or a sports organisation. I don't work in the industry. I work in a commercial sector as an analyst in a commercial space, and a business operations analyst. So yeah, numbers and things are kind of where my niche is, I guess, and what kind of my experience is. But yeah, it just kind of, I read about it briefly. I think it might have even been around when we first came up. I think it might have been Rich Hughes saying that, and John Moutinho saying that they were going to explore the sort of overseas market for value for money in a sort of similar way they did Yengi. Right? It was kind of the only signing we had in League One at the time from overseas, I think. And then sort of operating within the complex rules. And I thought, I wonder what they are. So that was kind of where it led to me looking into it. But yeah, if one of you wants to suggest I have some sort of GBE, ESE hotline to Rich Hughes, then I'd be up for that, providing he
honestly,
compensated me for it.
I do think that the club, someone in the club should be listening to this or should pass your name on, because
we should get a petition going.
Yeah, Pompey Patter petition. It's a niche talent, as you said, but it's a talent that's really interesting in to have. Obviously, you've got a legal knowledge and you've got sports management knowledge, so you've kind of already got everything behind you to go and be that guy. So I think you should be doing that. But thank you for coming on. It's been great to listen and to kind of understand. I feel like I've definitely learnt some things and understood it a lot more than I did even reading your tweets and stuff. I was still like, what? But now we've kind of spoken through it and described it all. It makes a lot more sense. And now when it's commented on social media from now, I'll be able to have a bit more understanding.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Josh.
Thank you guys for having me. And I have been planning this summer. I just haven't really got round to it, but to sort of do a bit of an updated article as well. So if that comes out, then I'll share it with you guys and just sort of outline.
We'll share it on platforms as well.
And if you want to follow Josh, what's your Twitter handle?
Now you've stumped me with a difficult question. I think it's Josh Clements 36. I think it's Josh.
It is. I've just looked.
Yeah, there we go.
But Josh Clements 36. I can't believe that's the one that stumped you. That's amazing.
What is your name?
Thank you, Josh.
Top
really
man,
appreciate
Josh,
your time.
you.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
Cheers, lads. Thank you very much.
I actually understand that. I actually understand it. Yeah, I
do.
You? Like, the thing is,
Right.
I'm not a massive reader. Like, obviously, I can read, obviously. But,
Shock.
I prefer to take my information in through watching and listening. Like, I've never.
Yeah, I'm the
like,
same, mate.
When I was at school, I wish I had the sort of things you could do now when I was at school then. Reading, listening, and that sort of stuff. I 100% would have taken a lot more in. I just didn't get round. I can't read a book because I just want to go to the end. So
it just balls. It balls you.
Which is fine because everyone takes information in their own way. So there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you can get it in there. Do you know what I mean? I did my PT and stuff, and a lot of that is through like sort of watching videos, listening to stuff, and like doing practicals and that kind of thing. So that's the best way of me to be able to learn. So having Josh on has like made everything very clear.
No,
well, we get Josh to do some sort of exam and send it over to you.
Yeah, go for it. I
might then pass it on to Rich Hughes.
Yeah, I might lose the test in my inbox somewhere, but I'll try my best.
How many people are sliding into your DMs, Daz?
My inbox is just full of fucking my email inbox is just full of like fucking promotions from buying stuff on like Amazon. That never anything interesting.
Right. Moving on. Shall we just briefly go over a couple of ins that one in and one that should be in, but it still hasn't been announced yet. So randomly, it was yesterday, wasn't it? We signed Benjamin Arthur on a season loan from Brentford. It was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday,
wasn't it? Literally out of the blue, wasn't it? Like
because we all thought we thought it was going to be Kamara McQueen, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Harry, I thought when you put it in the WhatsApp group, I thought you were like joking about with like some sort of Photoshop or something.
When it come up, it was like, who's this guy? It was like when Shock signed for us. Everyone was like, who the fuck's that?
Yeah, and it was actually quite nice to have a surprise.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and then it was one of them, who the fuck's that? And then the more I've looked into this guy, the more I think I've already fallen in love with him.
I like the look of him.
Celtic already put a £6 million bid in back in June and it got rejected. Brentford have no plans on selling him. So we cannot get our hopes up that we can buy this guy. So we need to make that clear.
Hey, you never know. Like obviously we're spending 3.5 this summer, next summer, who knows?
Yeah.
15 million.
Yeah. So, he's very tall, athletic, fast. And it's one where I don't think Brentford would be sending him here because they rate him very highly. And I don't mean just their fans, I mean the club. I don't think he's here to just sit on the bench. Maybe not at first, sorry. But I can see him being part of the team in a couple months or so. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, I think, John said he's played some part in Brentford's first team pre-season. He's played kind of a couple of games of 30 minutes and stuff. Obviously, with a lot of Premier League teams, they had a lot of internationals away for the World Cup that came back late. Interestingly, he is right-footed, but much like Shocks, he can play on both sides. So we still have 6 centre-halves now. None of them are left-footed naturally, which does still worry me slightly. But obviously with Shocks and then Benji Arthur, both can play.
Yeah. I still think
on the left.
Centre-backs is the one position you can get away with it.
I don't know, I just feel like you should.
Just because throughout football's history, there's so many times you've had 2 right-footed centre-backs.
You do, and obviously left-footed centre-halves are quite a niche market.
And also, as a centre-back, if you can make yourself a little bit extra space, you do get that little bit extra time where you can, Messino said this lad can use both feet, and the majority of professional footballers can use both feet. Like, obviously, one's going to be stronger than the other, but most professionals should be able to open up and be able to put their foot through it and put it into an area with their weaker foot.
Yeah, of course. I think it's just a preference for me. But if he can use, Shocks isn't awful on the left, is he? He actually has played better on the left for us than when he did on the right. So I think it's going to be Shocks and Arthur on the left. I think he then mentioned the fact that there's likely to be 2 exits from centre half. So you would think that would be Josh Knight and probably on a permanent, I would say. Then probably Hayden Matthews on a loan.
Yeah,
he seems to like Jojo a lot. I mean, who doesn't? It's Jojo. Regan,
another fast one.
Yeah, Regan would stay. So then you'd have kind of Regan and Jojo as the right-sided, then Shocks and Arthur as the left-sided. Which I would probably be. They would probably be the 4 I would want to keep out of the other, with including the other 2. As you say, he's not going to be coming here to sit. So whether he plays on the right or the left, I don't think it matters. I think he's more likely to probably oust Regan Poole to start off with. But with Shock's availability, it wouldn't be surprising if he does move over to the left quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And one that we're waiting for, which I'm going through Andrew Moon's tweets at the moment, he is still saying it's done, or there's a bit of paperwork issues and that's it. But in terms of it's going to happen, it's just more when and not if, and that's on McQueen, Steve McQueen, like the McQueen, whichever nickname we're going to give him. Again, I think we said it last week, there's not really much to go on with him compared to old Benji. It's one we just have to wait and see, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's 17 or 18 playing in, is it Premier League B, which is, or Premier League 2, what they call it. So that's pretty much an under-23s league, isn't it? So he must have something about him. But obviously the good thing is that we've got Abu in there on the right now, so it's not really like a case of we're going to have to bring this lad in and he's going to have to start, because obviously we've got Abu now. So, I mean, let's just see, I suppose, and we want to hope it's more of an Abu Kamara loan signing than it is a Z signing, you know what I mean? So, I mean, ideally he's going to be used here and there, and he's an unknown quantity to, I'm pretty sure 99% of the championship, so let's see what he can do.
Definitely. And then a little bit of news on outs, nothing official, but Harvey Blair looks like he's been told he can leave.
Thank God.
There's some interest from a Polish team, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
I don't think they've done their homework properly, personally. But
The link of him potentially going out there, and then the article saying that he's free to go in the summer, kind of is very close together, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's no smoke without fire.
Yeah, that's one that I think the club
and also his shirt number changing as well. He lost his shirt number, didn't he? So,
and that's it. Sometimes you just got to say, look, it hasn't worked out. Let's go separate ways. It's not about I don't think he wanted to be injured as much as he was he? Like I'm pretty sure 99% of these players want to be playing.
I don't know with him because some of the so-called injuries he's had, I just think you get on with that.
But that's the thing. I don't think that's I think these young players come through now. I think it's more about the environment they come up through. And
I think he's been too kind of pandered to coming up through the Liverpool academy.
I mean, he's not the only one.
I've got a twinge in my hip. Crack on.
Yeah, he's not the only one though, is he? I think there's so many different examples.
Looking at Waddingham, he had aches and pains.
Yeah. Well, that's the
it's just odd. I find it odd. I'm very old school. You kind of play on broken bones.
You're also being paid. Even his even him, he's going to be on what, 2, 3, 4 grand a week. Yeah. Just shut up and get on with it. I would be aching all day long for 5 grand, 3 or 4 grand a week. Get on with it.
How old is Blair?
22, I believe.
22, and we've got what? Owen Kenny, we've just signed on,
and Brooks Smith.
And but like if you look at Kenny for an example, how much football he's played, like men's football he's played before he's come here. I mean, a year older? And I think that's the difference where he's come up through there, where he's been shoved into men's football and dealt with it and gone with it, where this under 23 leagues, like the Premier League B or 2, whatever they call it, like you're not up against, it's not like the old school reserve leagues where some of these younger players are actually playing against men and they can sort of grow and build. Because I remember it's nowhere near that standard, obviously, but I can remember my first ever game playing in men's football, and I couldn't believe the difference. It's like the lad I was marking wasn't any better than me, but because his physicality, he just threw me around like a rag doll, and I was like, shit, I've got to do something different here. I can't just turn up and play. And I mean, that's the same at any level, because physicality and biology doesn't change. When you step up from under 17s, 18s to play the men's football, it is a massive leap.
So
I think getting rid of the reserves league, completely, is a big, big mistake.
Yeah.
In football terms, in general, not just Pompey, the reserves were so important for youngsters to get used to playing against men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For players who are not playing, getting game time. For players who, they come back from injury, but they might need a game or two. You can play them in there rather than the first team. Why football ever got rid of it?
They were focused on the academy.
Utter woke nonsense.
Harvey Blair's made 28 appearances in men's football. Owen Kenny's made 93.
But that's the thing. When was Blair's first appearance in men's football? When was Owen Kenny's? I can guarantee.
Blair's was with us.
Yeah.
Did he not play for Liverpool once?
Oh, sorry, he did in 21-22 season.
But I bet Owen Kenny, in his first season playing men's football, probably a couple of years ago.
Owen Kenny for Wexford made 11 appearances in 2023.
So yeah, and that's
so he would have been 17,
and that's not a bad number. Because obviously he would have been used in and out and stuff like that. He probably wouldn't have started every game.
Yeah,
he's just sort of easing them in. But those 11 games in your first season, so then I bet the second season after that he played more. So that's a player.
He went 11, 26, 35, 22, and then joined us.
There you go. That tells us a story.
He ran their West Ham left back ragged.
Yeah.
He did.
He didn't look like he didn't look like a player. He looks raw, as in decision making, shooting, stuff like that. But ability, far better than Blair and
and that's the thing that's the important thing about getting younger players out playing men's football as soon as possible out on loan, because it's not just about the physicality and stuff like that. It's about being around. Like you hear a lot of stories back in the days where you've like these top players where they've gone out on loan to these like League 2, League 1 clubs, and these players are who they've joined. The players they're playing alongside, they need to win this game, like, because they need to pay their mortgage. Like, do you mean? So they need to finish as high as possible, get as many bonuses as possible. So it's not about just turning up and just winning a game. It's life. Like, do you mean putting dinner on the table? So it's not just the fact that you learn like to be physical and that sort of stuff, and the game, it's everything that comes with it. And I don't think enough younger players are sort of exposed to that when at a young age.
With Harvey, I think it's the NX has been on the cards probably since January, where Messino came out publicly and kind of mentioned his attitude in a kind of a roundabout way. And he's mentioned it 2 or 3 times in total. And when a manager comes out publicly and is having a dig at your attitude and your availability, that's really, he's already had words with him privately.
So
before then, he's potentially already had maybe other senior players have a word with him, try maybe like a Marlon or someone like that with an arm round the shoulder. Still hasn't made an impact, so he's gone, fuck it, I'm going to out him in the press, see if that wakes him up. Yeah. And it still hasn't. And to me, I put it on our podcast page, I feel like he's heading down the traits of Miguel Aziz.
100%.
Where Aziz arrived here, I know it's slightly different because he's here permanently. Miguel arrived here and could not give a fuck because he was, I'm in Arsenal's academy, I'm too good for this place, I'm just here on loan, and look where you are now, you're playing for fucking Morecambe, dressing up like a, I don't know, like a fashion model, I suppose.
I think he's left Morecambe now.
Has he?
I think he's a...
Good for him.
Can't remember, he's gone now.
Good for Morecambe.
Good for Morecambe. But I feel like Harvey Blair's doing the same.
Yeah.
It feels like his attitude is, I came through Liverpool's academy, I'm high and mighty above everyone else. When in fact, he's not. And I really hope that the move, if it is to Poland or wherever he goes, I really hope it works out. He can reset, he can go again. He's out of the limelight of England. He's probably going to be away from, maybe he could have some bad influential friends or something. I don't know. Again, this is all kind of just guessing work, but you look at the likes of, say, Marcus Rashford for a difference. He had bad people around him in Manchester, went to Barcelona for a year, and look how much better he was. It shows the people around you can make a difference. So he could go a lesser league, it's less intense, get a season or 2 under his belt without getting injured. Then he can look to go, right, I can come back to England. And if he has to go to League One and do a season or 2 there again as well. Because I don't know whether he's got the talent or not, because we just simply haven't seen enough of him to know whether there is that talent there or not for this level. But I really hope he does well somewhere else. He's just got to, only he can sort out his attitude, unfortunately.
Aziz is at Carlisle, by the way. That's what.
Brilliant.
Unlucky them. Right, I've really noticed the time, and I don't want to poor Has be up to God know o'clock.
I'll blame you because you fannied around for about 15 minutes.
10 minutes. So let's quickly just move on to our predictions for the QPR game. Any changes to the lineup quickly before we give our scores? Obviously, I'd imagine Kamara starts.
It would just be drop LaRue, Adams goes back next to Shane, Segacic in the 10, and Kamara on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I put it in the chat the other day. I have this really horrible feeling that LaRue stays in somehow, or at best, sorry, not at worst, that Bailey comes in. Kamara will go on the left, Seg stays on the right, and Adam stays as the 10. I hope I'm wrong, but I can see that happening all day long.
I can't have Lihadi Luke anymore.
No, definitely not. Who went first last week?
I think it was you.
It might have been. I know you went last, didn't you? So you can go first this week. Oh, Points. What do we get?
So,
Anyone get anything?
Russ gets 2 points for getting the correct goal scorer of Segacic. Daz gets 0 points. I get 1 point for predicting a West Ham win.
So Russ, top of the league as always, carries on. All right.
Fantastic.
Has predictions.
So, QPR at home, first game of the season. They've made some good signings on paper, and they haven't actually spent an awful lot of money.
No, it's just, funny enough, I was just looking at it, about 700k.
Yeah, so they're I think they're 22nd in the league out of money spent.
Yep.
So they've done an awful lot of good business without spending a lot. It could backfire. It might work. I mean, the players that they've signed Tariq Lamptey on a free, the ex-Brighton right-back that was touted to Chelsea for 50-odd million at one point. They've signed Dennis Serkin on a free at left-back. Again, slightly injury-prone, but has...
Well, Lamptey's more than slightly, though, isn't he?
No, I was on about Serkin.
Oh, sorry.
But, yeah, again, Lamptey is very injury-prone, but on his day, he is a fantastic right-back, especially at this level. Yeah, they re-signed Ronnie Edwards as well. Got him in at centre-half. I think they did that in January, but they've managed to keep him. Obviously, they've got Kone up front. They've got Kwame Poku, who's a talented winger. Obviously, they signed from Peterborough last summer. So they have got some talent. But have they got more talent than us? That's the real question. I'm torn. I am torn whether to go for a win or a draw.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky start, and I'm glad we're at home.
Yeah. Do you know what? Because we are at home, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Pompey win. And I'm going to go for an Abu Kamara, a goal. It seems too good to be true to not go for that.
Playing any trump cards or anything?
No.
Okay. Daz, you can go next.
Sorry, Hatters, what was your score?
2-1 Pompey, Kamara to score.
And we're not allowed to do the same score, are we?
Nope.
I'm going to go... Fuck it. Let's go 2-0 Pompey. And Richard Sheehan. Mate, he's going to be my Josh Murphy. I'm going to name him.
I was going to say you went from last week as well.
I'm laughing just because I feel like every time you say his name, you say it differently.
No, I said that's how you say it. That's what he said.
It's Shine now, isn't it? I don't know. I'm just going to call him Rocky.
Richardo.
Right. What was your score? Sorry?
2-0.
2-0. Oof.
Rochdale at home, first game of season vibes.
Pit me there, love it. I'm torn between a draw and a win. I do think it's the wrong time to play QPR, because I think if you played these in about 3 months' time after these, be injured. I will go for a 1-0 win. I don't even know. I'll fuck it. 1-0 win.
Luke LaRue to score.
So you got Shine, and you went Kamara, didn't you?
Yeah, I assume you're going to go for Luke LaRue.
Of course. No, I'm going to go. I'm going to go Bish.
Oh,
fuck it, penalty, Frattening, bang, top corner. See you later. 1-0, 3 points. Proper football. Right, so that's that. And now we're going to go, just quickly go through our season predictions, where we think everyone's going to come. Oh,
sorry.
And, that's tickled me.
Oi.
That's how it starts.
Oh, God.
Thought that's how it ends. Anyway.
Depends how long.
Stop it.
So, shall we go relegation to playoff promotion and then Pompey? Unless one of you have got Pompey in the relegation or promotion, you can declare yes or no.
No.
Right. So, should we go from do the bottom three with 24.
Yeah.
So we just go Has, Daz, me, and then keep going around like that. We'll keep it simple. Has, who have we got 24th?
Probably no shock. A lot of people have put them there. Lincoln.
Yeah.
I don't really,
Daz?
say a lot about it.
Lincoln.
Yeah, same here. And I'm going to caveat onto that of, except from teams that have got like points deduction, the lowest points you've seen in the Championship. Lost like their best players and their manager. Yeah, good luck. Next, 23rd.
Preston.
Blackburn.
I've gone Blackburn. Any reasons for them?
No, Blackburn for me is just the fact that I think they're, from everything I'm reading and seeing, they're a bit all over the place. Not like, I mean, they've been all over the place for God knows how many years, but, yeah, I mean, they've got Sam Morsey in now, so that's going to be a big boost for them. And they've got Tony Mowbray, but I just don't think he's the same Tony Mowbray. That obviously he had his illness and stuff like that. But yeah,
I don't think it's the same Sam Morsey.
No, I just think I think Blackburn have been all over the place for quite a while, and maybe this is the season that.
I think this is the year. Their time's up. And you've got Preston, didn't you?
I have, yes.
Similar reasons, kind of like
they've been flirting for an awfully long time, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think, although I know they've spent money on Alfie Devine, obviously they bought Callum Lang in January. You look at their defence and just think, what the fuck is that? Yeah. They're all old. They're all slow. They all get injured. I just think their defence is awful, and I think they might be able to score some goals, but I think they'll ship a hell of a lot.
Yep, agreed with that. 22nd has
Blackburn.
I've
gone Charlton.
Ooh. So I have changed it about 20 times between Preston and Charlton, and I've gone for Preston for the same reasons as
I suppose Charlton are in that as well.
Yeah, but Charlton are like my 21st team.
Yeah, same with me, really.
Anyone like any other shouts you think could be down there?
Don't think so.
No, I've got one, but I'm going to keep it for the underachievers.
Fair.
Right, so top 8 now.
As it's now 8th upwards.
Yep, as the playoffs have been extended. Who have we gone for the 8th spot?
I've gone for Stoke City.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I mean they're spending quite a bit of money. Obviously, was it 10?
They do that every year.
No, I know, but 10 million on like Ethan Galbraith, I think, is a really, really good signing.
That is a good signing.
I just think they're spending some good money, and I think Mark Robbins is actually getting his team now, rather than previous managers' teams. So I think with the extension to 8th, I think Stoke have got a chance.
Okay, fair enough.
Norwich.
Oof. I thought it was a bit low for them.
Yeah, just the teams above. Again, I think especially with the top 2 for me is top 2, and I think the rest 3 to 8. I think you could put them in any order, and I think you'd.
True. Very true. 8th, I've gone for Derby.
They weren't far away last season, were they?
No, and they're definitely a team on the up. I know they didn't get. I think the ownership thing didn't happen in the end.
Yeah, with Turkey Al Sheikh. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think they're good enough to get in that top 8 bracket for sure. I don't see a reason why not. Has 7th?
Birmingham City.
Yeah, I've gone for Birmingham as well.
That's scary. We've all got them 7th.
Nice.
So has 6th?
Norwich.
Wow.
I've gone for Millwall.
I've gone Scum.
Ooh.
I actually almost didn't even put them in the top 8, but I thought, I think they're just so overrated anyway, and the only reason why they got anywhere near the top was because they fucking cheated. And a clear example of that is Wrexham last season. I don't know if you've looked into it, all the stuff people found of basically Wrexham had changed their whole way of playing that they've never done before to suit playing against Scum. And Scum seemed to somehow knew they were going to do that and changed it themselves. So, a bit weird that.
Russ, who did you put 8th, Russ? Sorry, I'm just putting it into a Excel spreadsheet.
8th was Derby.
Lovely.
Has 5th?
Millwall?
5th, I've gone Scummers.
I've gone Millwall. So we were just pretty much swapped it around, didn't we? 4th?
Scum.
It's fair. They could be proven completely wrong.
I think
that their striker is what will get him up there. That Larin.
Larin is quite a good player, unfortunately. I think with the minus 4 points, obviously they start off a little bit less, and I do think there will probably be a suspension for Tonda Eckert as well, which will just stop them from reaching the top 2.
Yeah, I think if you any team, if they start on -4 and then still finish in the playoffs, I mean, it's not a bad season, is it? And
no, but I also think other than Larin, which they already had, they haven't improved, have they? These teams coming down have got they're good. That's
Burnley.
Okay. I've gone Burnley as well.
Nice.
Although there was another one I nearly put 8th because they have lost a lot of players.
Yeah, I just think they'll do a fair bit of business.
Yeah.
So even if they might not start well, I think they've got enough to get them through. I don't know who they've got in their first few games, but I think they've got enough quality to maybe just get them over the line until the end of this month, and then, I mean, you like to think they would strengthen quite a bit.
3rd has
Wolves.
Ooh.
Des?
I've gone Middlesbrough.
And I've just realised I've done something wrong. It's because I haven't got my notes. I have Norwich in my top 6.
Not anymore, you don't. Were you having them 3rd?
No, because I've got Middlesbrough. I don't know where I put Norwich. I just have to leave them out, or I can't even look.
Tell us after, and tell us which one, and I'll change it.
Switch it around. Tell us at the end of the season, and we'll switch it around.
It must have been. I must have dropped Derby out at some point and moved everyone down and probably put them. Oh yeah, Scum was 7th, Norwich was 6th, and Derby were out. That's it. I remember now.
Right.
So Birmingham 8th, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Middlesbrough 3rd.
And Norwich 6th.
Correct.
Cool.
I remember. I've changed it so much in the last week.
Yep.
As
2nd, yeah.
Yep.
Middlesbrough. I think they're making some really good signings. I think Will Lancashire's a great signing for them.
He'll score bangs of goals.
He's going to score a hell of a lot of goals. Scored a lot of goals, reached double figures last season for Oxford in a really, really poor Oxford side.
Yeah, barely create any chances, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, and look what he did to us. This is why I said we should try and get him on loan. It was always going to be a kind of a real long shot. But
Is he on loan or have they signed him?
No, they've signed him permanently for 10 million plus 20% sell on.
I think that's cheap.
Yeah, because obviously, if you think about it, if he's on a 3 or 4 year contract, they're not going to be paying that 10 million.
Yeah.
So
I think that's so cheap. What do we get Morazi for?
3.5.
Yeah, it's not a massive difference.
No.
And we got to sell on, haven't we?
I mean, because by the time if they say 2, I don't know what year contract he's on, but just say 4 years. If they sell him after 2 for 30, 50, whatever million, they've not bought him for 10 million, because they've made that money back. So
yeah,
good investment maybe.
I think Borough 2nd.
Yeah. I've gone West Ham 2nd.
I've got Wolves 2nd. And then, so that means, who have we got top?
West Ham.
West Ham, yeah. Who have we gone for, Daz?
Pompey? No, Wolves.
Wolves. I'll go on West Ham as well. I do think the top three, you could probably put them in any order.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be 4 points is my kind of guess between the top three.
Yeah. I do think you could go either way. I could even see Middlesbrough winning the league.
Yeah.
I would love it if they did. I like him, Hellberg, and I like obviously Will Lancashire because of Spurs. So
definitely. So now we're going to go for Pompey. Where we think Pompey are going to come.
I've gone 12th.
12th, okay. Daz?
Yep, so have I.
So I was in the mind of people going to think we've kicked on and moved on, but I keep seeing everyone putting us in the bottom three, and I'm baffled.
Yeah, but as we said, half these experts aren't experts.
Yeah, but it's even like people that are like I'm talking like, you know, like proper like what would be like the old 442 magazine. You know what I mean? And
I have seen a few more recently that have put us up by like up to 15th.
But I think a lot of them also were doing it before we'd signed Kamara, Maresi, and players like that. So before that, obviously we knew that they were coming, but from the outside, you look at it and think, oh fuck, they haven't really invested, they haven't improved their squad. When in fact, you look a bit deeper, and as fans of the club, you can see what we have.
Yeah. And to be honest, for me, like I'm just being really positive. Like,
yeah, same with me, right?
Yeah. So like,
I would take anything from 15th upwards.
Yeah.
So I've gone 14th.
Okay.
I was going to go 12th, but everyone putting us in the bottom three that I keep watching and listening to made me doubt what we've done.
Oh.
Never ever doubt Moose.
He's got scared.
I did. Before I was going to ask you that question, right? More points is more. Getting more points than better. You know, if we finish forward, because Sheffield Wednesday gave everyone a lot of points, didn't they?
Apart from we gave them points.
Yeah, but you know, everyone else pretty much got 6 points off them. So it bumped up a lot of points last season. So we finished higher points, but finished lower.
Yes.
Yeah. So this season, where you probably say it's going to be a bit more competitive throughout the whole 24. What's the points we're looking at?
I reckon you've got to be
plus.
Yeah, I was going to say you've got to be looking at 60 because last season 60 would have got you 14th. So yeah, 60 points plus, and I think that's a really good season.
Yeah, same here. Couple of just quickly again. What about Cardiff and Bolton coming up? Like, do you think they'll be all right?
I think Cardiff will. Bolton will be there or thereabouts of the relegation zone.
The only thing I worry about with Cardiff,
especially with Schumacher, he's not happy about the investment that's coming in. So I'm not sure how long he'll last.
The only worry I have with Cardiff, watching them doing that Robertson videos, is their defence is very weak for this league. But they'll score goals. Oh, they're that sort of team. They'll be the exciting team to watch, I reckon. So every game will be like 3-2 and 4-3 and things like that, I reckon. So who's your underdogs dark horse? Sorry.
Despite not having them in the top 8, I've gone QPR.
That's fair. It depends if they keep him fit.
If you can keep the likes of Sirkin, Lamberty, Kone, and obviously goalkeeper is Pierce Charles as well, on loan from Man City. Like defensively, if they can keep that kind of back five with Jimmy Dunn and Ronnie Edwards as well, I think that's a really, really good defensive kind of block to have. And Kone scores goals as well. So I think as long as everyone stays fit, I feel like a dark horse. They could be kind of just nick that 7th or 8th.
Did something happen to Daz?
Oh, is he? Is he gone?
Threw him out.
Oh, mate, what's going on today? Crazy.
Wonder if he left the app by mistake and it threw him out and all.
You do yours then,
while
Russ.
we're waiting, I'm going to go. So my Oh, hang on, is he back now? Yeah, that's right. My dark horse, sorry, is I've gone for Bristol City. Reason why I left them out the top 8 is because of the unknown of the manager. Is he going to do what he did for Lincoln in the Championship? And the same with the striker. I think if they click to this league, I could see them getting up there.
I did think the same, but I just thought with the strikers they've signed are both from League One.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I left them out the top 8, but they could be the dark horse. I mean, if they bang, they'll be up there. He's requested again.
Oh,
this is the trouble I had to keep coming out in and back in again. I wonder if he left.
Right.
Daz?
It's not working for him, is it?
It's not. Right, what's your underachiever, Has?
Burnley.
I swapped Burnley. I said earlier, didn't quite have them in my top 8. I mean, I'm just not sure. They keep losing all their players. If they don't do anything, they could be another Luton.
Wow, this is why I've put them. Obviously, you've both got them in your top 8, but I just feel like they've sold a lot, and I think they're going to end up going for a consolidating year in the Champ, so they'll be underachieving from what their fans will be wanting.
Are you there, Daz?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Finally.
Did you leave the app?
No, well, I don't know why it wouldn't let me speak, so I've just taken my microphone off, and now it's working. So maybe there was an issue. I don't know.
Maybe. Right, who was your dark horse?
My dark horse was going to be Cardiff.
Really?
Yeah, I think by dark horse I mean as in like sort of I think they'll finish comfortably. Like I don't think they'll be in a relegation zone. I think they'll be all right. I like the way their manager plays football, and they've obviously taken Lincoln's best player. So I don't know. I think they'll be all right, and I think players like Alex Robertson has got another season under his belt, and he'll just get better and better. And they've got a group of players that have been together for a while. I know, Russ, as you said, that defensively they might not be great, but
I was going to say, did you hear that?
Yeah, but I mean, going forward, they look really good. So the dark horse is more like they'll stay out comfortably rather than pushing anywhere and that sort of stuff.
Fair enough. And who was your underachievers?
Stoke.
Oh, yeah.
I just think I know Has put them in the playoffs now. I think that's me thinking they'll miss out on the playoffs, but it's mainly because they kind of underachieve every year, so I don't know whether it's like a massive shout or not. And I know obviously they've got Mark Robbins and that kind of stuff, but Stoke kind of feel like that club. Like remember what Newcastle used to be like back in the day in the Premier League, like just even though whatever they do, it doesn't work. So I think they've spent a lot of money this summer. Good signings, but I just don't know. Something about Stoke that just makes me think they're just not going to push on. And
I reckon it's just living in Stoke and they all just get depressed.
Maybe, yeah. It's cold, dark, cold, windy, rainy, dark Tuesday nights.
My underachievers, and is also, I'm going to say they could get relegated. There could be a Luton Leicester situation. Well, I know Leicester was point seduction. Well, did they go down anyway? I can't remember now. Sheffield United.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I say I worry for him. I don't give a shit about him. But if I was a fan of Sheffield United, I'd be seriously worried about their prospects this season. And hasn't Hammer gone to Coventry?
He's gone back to Coventry, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was always, for me, the one that always stood out for them. And with him gone, they've literally, I don't even think have they even signed anyone? I know they haven't signed anyone for money. I don't even think they've done anything.
They're trying to sign Harry Souttar from Leicester, aren't they?
Yeah, but don't Leicester want like 8 million for him or something stupid? They ain't worth that.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So that is my underachievers. Right.
All locked in and saved, ready to go back to on the last episode of the season.
And find out how badly we all are at predicting. Right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me as always.
Thank you very much.
Shout out to Josh as well, a special guest.
Yeah, top man.
Brilliant to listen to. Highly recommend any articles he puts out. Go and give him a follow. Give him a good read. Hopefully Pompey get the win Saturday, and hopefully when we get back this time next week, we will be singing "We Are Top of Leagues. We won 8-0."
Get back.
See you later.
Bye.